Hello and welcome to day 12 of my 31-day video challenge. So today I thought I'd share with you one of my favorite management type books. It is called The Coaching Habit by Michael Bungay Stanier. I'll put a link to it in the comment section. But why I love this book so much and I buy it and recommend it, I buy it as a gift all the time. I recommend it all the time. Is that if you are a leader, if you are an aspiring leader, there's 7 great questions that you can use for when someone comes in. Now, here's why I recommend it. Typically, when someone comes in your office or comes to you and they're like, hey, what do I got to do? I have this problem. What's going on? It is super easy for us to get into advice mode. Whereas lots of times, especially as a leader, your best tool is to help that person tap into their own inner resources. Because I promise you, they kind of know what they already got to do and what the true problem is. What you're going to do by asking these questions outlined in this book is to help them identify that for themselves. So I'll show you really, really, really quick. And you can see I have it like flagged and highlighted. And I honestly think this is my second copy. My first copy wore out. But there are 7 questions. So the first question is called the kickstart question, and you're just going to ask them, what's on your mind? And they're going to tell you, oh, so and so screwed up the photocopier again, or so and so, misspoke in a meeting, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. They're going to come to you and they're like, blah, blah, and they're going to be what's top of mind. But you want to dive a little bit deeper because there's probably something else going on. And that's literally what question number 2 is. And what else? And you have to keep asking, and what else, until you feel like you've really gotten to the core of the issue. They'll be able to tell you. You'll see some deep sighs and some inner thinking, and you can even ask, like, is that it? Like, have we really hit the root of what's going on? They should be able to tell you. Question number 3. Now you're going to bring some focus to what's really going on. And here's the question: what's the real challenge here for you? Right? So now it's not about the other person. It's not about the situation. It's the person that's sitting across the desk from you, the person who you're coaching. What's the real challenge here for you? You can hang out there for a little bit. Sometimes it takes you asking that more than once. You could end up asking it 5, 6, 7 times. And again, until you really get into what's going on with them, not the other person, not the situation. Question number 4, it's called the foundation question. So what do you want? So lots of times people are like, I don't want them to do this, or I don't want that to happen. Keep asking, well, what do you want? What would that do for you? What would that bring you? What would open up for you if you had that? All variations of that question, what do you want? Again, you're keeping it about the person, not about the situation, because you can't control, or the other person, because you can't control other people's behavior. And then here's where it's like super lazy, like you're the boss or you're the friend or the coach, whatever. Question number 5, how can I help? My variation is, especially when I was in corporate, is like, what is your request of me? Right? How can I help? What can I do for you? Those same kind of things. When I would ask, this is my take on it. This is not from the book. What is your request of me? I sometimes they'd be a little taken aback by that question, and I would have to clarify for them. And I would be like, are you just looking for a sounding board? You just needed a place to come and vent for a minute. Is that what you need from me right now? Or do you need advice or a new perspective? Is that your request of me? Or are you looking to help create a plan or an action plan or do some self-reflection or whatever? Is that how I can help? And lots of them like, oh, it makes them stop and think, yeah, why did I come here? Why am I coming to you? What do I need from you? So that make sure to ask so that you show up how they need you to show up, because it's too easy to just flip into advice mode and then shoo them on their way and then wonder why they don't take your advice. 6th question number 6, the strategic question. If you're saying, this is what you're gonna ask them. If you're saying yes to this, what are you saying no to? Right? So if someone's coming to you, oh, I've been offered this promotion, but oh, I'm not sure. I'm torn. Is this really what I want in my career? And I mean, it's just a great way to test the waters. Well, if you say yes to this, what are you saying no to? If I'm saying yes to this promotion and shift, well, I'm saying no to deepening my skills and abilities and learnings in this particular role. It's an example. And then the very last closing question that you can ask when they think they're done and you've really dove in through everything is, what was most useful for you? Like, you're asking that of them. It helps them reflect. It helps deepen the learning that they I promise you they've had with you in this conversation. Um, it also, you can use it to recap, like, yeah, well, I've learned that, how I show up in a meeting matters. I didn't really think about that before. Oh, I've learned that it's time for me to sit down and make a new career plan. Whatever it is, like, what's been the most useful thing for you? And it could be, it was nice to just sit down and feel like I had someone to talk to about this sort of thing. Doesn't matter, because remember, when someone shows up in your office or you're across from you and they have a big burning thing going on, it is a beautiful opportunity for you as a leader to show up with a bit of a service and, more importantly, a coaching focus, because you don't always have to tell people what to do. They're going to get there on their own if you know how to ask the right questions in the right sequence. So again, it's an easy read. It's a beautiful read. It's called The Coaching Habit: Say Less, Ask More, and Change the Way You Lead. Michael Bungay Stanier. Like I said, I've read it multiple times. I recommend it. I use it in gift bags and workshops because I think it's one of the most powerful tools any leader can have in their back pocket. Ooh, I'll end with a really funny story. I knew a guy who was also a big fan of this book and had a new manager who was like new to management, and he wasn't a thrill with his fellow's management style. And when he went in to do his performance review, he literally sat there and asked and answered these 7 questions because he knew his boss hadn't read this book. And he'd be like, here's what's on my mind, and here's what else, and what else, and what else is going on. And the real challenge in all of this for me is this and this and this and this. And what I really want is like, he literally took himself through these questions. So I thought that was a glorious story about how he coached himself and at the same time taught his boss how to coach his own staff. So I thought that was brilliant. Again, I'll put a link in. One of my favorite books. I highly recommend you get it. And until then, I will see you tomorrow.